Kia ora, kia ora, kia ora. So how's your weekend going? The sun's actually just come out, but it's been raining and really was cold this morning. So this morning we were up, my husband had to bless a whare today. So that was something nice and something different to do. But I'm keen to have a kōrero um, about uh, keen to have a kōrero about what's been happening with the IT outage that's been happening all around the world. Crikey, makes cash king, right? So we couldn't get access to our bank account for 2 days. This morning was the only time we could get access to it. And I don't know about you, but lucky we had a bit of cash in our pocket, so we were able to do our shopping, whereas there was a lot of people who couldn't. People sleeping in cars because they couldn't get accommodation, and just a lot of chaos and confusion around the world. So put your message up if you were impacted by the outage, the IT. And it impacted on airlines. I've just got a article up now. Airlines, hospitals, people's computers, cyber security, banks, hospitals. So it's a bit of a red flag for me in regards to, one, how much we rely on IT, and if there's a world outage, how did that even happen, right? I mean, we've been, and I've been sort of stuck to my phone in regards to updates with Trump and Biden and what's going on in that space. Kia ora, Rick. How are you? Klaus Schwab mentioned cyber attacks were coming. Wow, that makes you wonder if WEF had any influence whatsoever. But I'm not going to be a conspiracy theorist, but what it is, what we do need to be concerned about is the fact that it happened, right? And our aunties and uncles, they're so old school that yes, they get paid the pension, yes, it goes into their bank account, but what they do every pension day is they withdraw their whole pension, and then old school ways, this amount of money will go to this bill, and this bill, and they go and pay cash. And with this outage now, it makes you realize that cash is king. You're not paying bank fees on your own money because you're using your own money. So I just think it's a bit of a wake-up call for us all. And the fact that it had influence, travel, hospitals, accommodation, access to food. So access to the basics. So what's the solution to that? I mean, I don't think we know enough. In this article, this is a global tech outage. This article, it's a business article, says airlines grounded flights, operators of 911 lines could not respond to emergencies, hospitals cancelled surgeries, so lives were impacted, right? Retailers closed for the day, and the actions all traced back to a batch of bad computer codes. So they say. Batch of bad computer codes. I mean, I'm not an IT whiz, right? And that's just not my lane. But in this article, it says a flawed software update sent out by a little-known cybersecurity company caused chaos and disruption around the world on Friday. The company CrowdStrike, based in Austin, Texas, makes software used by multinational corporations, government agencies, and scores of other organizations to protect against hackers and online intruders. Don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but why would you leave it to one small company that has access to all and these companies, these multinational companies, use this one organization, and we saw the chaos around the world, right? So, like I say, we're dependent. Like I rang my daughter this morning She didn't answer the phone, and then I rang a second time. She said, "Oh, she was on her watch." She said, "Oh, mum, the moko's got my phone, and if I take it off him, he's going to cause a scene." And he's not even he's 2. He's 2 years old, so he's in that age, right? And then she was asking for the phone, and he wouldn't give it to her. But anyway, at least we're able to use the phone. But we've become so reliant on technology. I just love the fact that our nanas and our koros are still old school. I remember quite vividly when Dad used to get paid. Back in those days, I was still at school, in a little long little brown envelope, and they put cash and even the coins. You could hear the coins rattling. Long were those days, right? Yes, there's a lot of convenience, but we've got to be careful that we're not handing over our rights for the sake of convenience. I'm not saying that we're not users of IT. I'm just saying we need to take a cautionary approach. And is there something else sitting behind? This happened to happen during the assassination attempt of Trump, but is there something bigger happening behind? I'll carry on reading this article. I'll bring it over here so I'm not, so I'm looking at you rather than looking away. So I'll go back to a flawed software update sent out by a little known cyber security company. See, that's a red flag in itself. A little known cyber security company caused chaos and disruption around the world on Friday. The company CrowdStrike, I'm going to click onto here to see who they are, right? CrowdStrike, I don't know if it's going to let me in. No, it's not going to let me in. Okay. Anyway, I'll get rid of that. It's not going to let me in. Okay, to Paitera. So CrowdStrike, go do your own research, whānau. CrowdStrike, based in Austin, Texas, makes software used by multinational corporations, government agencies, and scores of other organizations to protect against hackers and online intruders. What does Rick say? CrowdStrike is owned by... Thanks, Rick, for updating us. So there you go, whānau. CrowdStrike, this little, what do they say? Little known cyber security. So they make it out as if it's a little company, but in fact, it's owned by BlackRock and Vanguard. That's what Rick is saying. I would be advising people to have some reserve cash on hand. They don't they don't want Trump as president again, and we'll try again. So basically, I think what Rick's saying is there's going to be another attempt on his life. But anyway, the irony, we just got to start, using our puku. We used to use our puku all the time, and now we entrust even research, right? Don't even trust me. I'm just sharing information, but don't even trust me. I've given you some tidbits. CrowdStrike is the company. Rick's just let us know BlackRock and Vanguard own it. So we saw our Prime Minister Luxon having a meeting with the head of BlackRock. All those things. We saw Jacinda Ardern. So there certainly is that global influence. And these last 2 prime ministers certainly are influenced by the global elite. Now, I'll carry on with this article. So scores of other organizations use it to protect against hackers and online intruders. But when CrowdStrike sent its update on Thursday to its customers that run Microsoft Windows software, computers began to crash. Well, that's most of us, right? And who owns Microsoft Windows? Can you put that answer up, please, Rick? Because you all know who owns that. And so what you do is you just start looking at the relationships, right? It's like politicians. You've got to ask politicians, who are your bedmates? Who are you going into bed with? Who's paying for your billboards? Who's paying for your, for example, electronic billboards? You've got to be open and transparent because people find out anyway. It's not do people care? Well, yes, people do care. If you're going out to campaign on certain kaupapa, then people care who you align yourself with. And I've been open. All my billboards have got New Zealand Outdoors and Freedom Party. My statement has I'm the co-leader of New Zealand Outdoors and Freedom Party. You know, they're my running mates. And I say we're greens without extremes. Take that how you wish, but at least I'm open and transparent. And I'm pretty much an open book. There's nothing that most of you don't know about me. But I think that that's good because it allows people to choose whether or not they can trust you. Because politicians, the key is about whether or not you're trusted, right? And what we're seeing worldwide is a lot of politicians with a lot of bloody agendas. And so that makes you question whether or not we can trust them. So, anyway, I'll carry on with this. Rick said Gates still has influence over Windows despite no longer running it. Absolutely. He runs his charities with his wife. Well, I don't know if she's still his wife, but that's where instead of paying taxes, their money gets directed to their charity. So they set up charity arms and direct their money into the charities. Then they have control, and then they can claim back on that. It's all about tax evasion or avoidance. I can't quite remember which one is legal and which one is illegal, but one in New Zealand is legal and the other one is illegal. But that's not what my life is about. The fallout, which was immediate and inescapable, highlighted the brittleness of global technology infrastructure. The world has become reliant on Microsoft and a handful of cybersecurity firms like CrowdStrike. So when a single flawed piece of software is released over the internet, it can almost instantly damage countless companies and organizations that depend on the technology as part of everyday business. So let that be a warning to you, whānau. What it tells me is always have some cash in your wallet. I know of people that actually have a home safe, and they keep a lot of cash in their safe for a rainy day. And more and more and more, it looks like we need to definitely have our own gardens, and we need to be a lot more self-sufficient, right? So I'm not going to brag on today, but I just wanted to touch base because of all of this, we were all impacted in some shape or form. We couldn't access our bank account for 2 days, but we did have cash in my husband, he's a bit of a hoarder of cash, which lucky he is. And he said, "Oh no, I got this much in my wallet," and I went, "Sure, okay, we can still go and do a bit of shopping." But anyway, whānau, let that be a lesson for us, right? Let that be a lesson for us that cash is king. That when the supermarkets can't give you kai, then you have to have backup plans. Gardens, marakai. Let's start learning to be self-sufficient again, like our parents were, like our grandparents were. Mā te wā, have a good day, and we'll catch up again soon. Kia ora. Ka kite.